hear my spurs long before you see me. They jingle as I shuffle in. My boots are worn out and my head is dusty. The sight of me might make you grin. Make no mistake about it, I don't put on airs. I'm exactly what you think I'd be. I'm just an old worn out desperado, desperate for your company. I've been riding for a month or two, pushing cows along the trail. I think it's time for a room and a hot bath. The boys all say I'm starting to smell. And if you could direct me to the nearest barber shop, a haircut and a shave I truly need. I'm just an old worn out desperado, desperate for your company.
So what's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. You know what? I don't know why I always say welcome back to the channel, because you know what, maybe you're here for the first time. If you're here for the first time, hit that subscribe button down below. But today what I'm doing is I'm getting our winter, how we're going to take care of the cows for the winter setup. I don't know, winter process, whatever you want to call it, okay? And I'm going to go through and explain to you. It's going to be different from last year because we're going to try something different. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And we'll just try something again, something different next year. So this year what we're going to do is we have this permanent paddock here that we're going to keep the cows in. Between this here, it's like this whole area here plus the back when we finish out feeding the hay that we have stored back there. This here is about 3/4 of an acre, more than enough room for all of our cows. Then we're also going to open up the corrals, especially in about a week, when little Skywalker back there, our little bull calf, the one in front, he's completely weaned, because it'll be a month since we took him off mama. And what I've read, that should be enough time, and then we can put him back together. I know it's an issue keeping a bull calf son with the bull calf mama together. Don't worry, we're not going to let him breed. Dolly, his mama, is either bred back or Jordan's gonna take care of her for sure, because there's a big height difference, and I don't even think Skywalker could be even close to reaching, so not an issue. We're actually gonna keep the hay bales over here next to the barn underneath these trees, and I mentioned this in a previous video because I think this will work. These trees here, don't ask me what kind they are, but they stay green all year long, which is great. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the hay bales along here, okay? Longhorns, I looked at doing Joel Salatin's hay box. Longhorns just can't fit in them. It's just not possible because obvious reasons. So we're just gonna put the bales here. Boom, 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 boom. And then here, what we're gonna do is I have a couple orders of wood chips on the way. It should be getting here really soon. And we're gonna just put down a ton of wood chips in this area. And hopefully use this here as our covering, so they don't get, they're gonna get wet because of rain and stuff, but hopefully not as wet, and we can just keep adding and adding and adding. Then in the springtime we can spread it out on one of our fields. But right now we have a little bit of hay in here for the calves, but this is going to be the setup. I'm going to try this, and I think it should work. Hay bales all along here. We'll probably put out two or three of them at a time, which would last them about a week. Between all three of them, it should last them about a week, which would be great, because then we only move in hay once a week. And then on the days that we move hay, we'll come in here, and look, we already have some wood chips from a previous pile that we actually had in here, and we'll just take this and cover the manure up like that with new fresh wood chips. Now it'll be a little bit of a process each day. I'm gonna put down a decent layer, and we'll see what happens. It might work. I'm not too worried about the barn because we're lucky, because it has a protected metal on the side, which is fantastic. The wind is pretty bad, so I'm going to talk over here for a little bit because it blocks me out of the wind. And I know a lot of you, said, hey, it's really windy in your videos. We live on a hill. It's really windy where we are. I'm doing my best. I have a whole dead cat thing. You can probably hear a difference in the audio with and without it. So, doing my best. Might have to go to like a clip-on microphone that's directional. whole thing. That's for a later video though. But the reason that we're gonna do it this year, last year we unrolled hay. We unrolled hay like Greg Judy does, and the cows would go eat the hay that we unrolled. That worked out perfectly fine. No issues with that. The cows liked it. They ate down all the hay. We did have some waste, which is not a big deal because that would go back to the soil. No big deal. Fine with that. The issue was, well, there's not really an issue. Well, there is a little bit of an issue. It's a lot more work. And then two, we have a little bit of a more mild climate here than, say, Greg Judy does in central Missouri. And what I'm seeing around the pastures that the cows have been off of the longest, is that we're getting a little bit of green coming back up. We had our first freeze last night, and I don't know if that's going to completely hamper it, but we're going to be in the 60s and 70s for the next, 2 weeks at least. Might dip down to the 50s one day, but it's more mild here. My thinking is, okay, we're going to be on hay for probably until beginning of March. March 1st-ish is the day that I'm looking to move them back out the pasture. But during this time, I'm going to keep them in here. This is going to be a sacrifice paddock. I know some of you guys don't agree with that. This is what we're going to do. We're going to put down a lot of wood chips to where it prevents the parasites from happening. Joel Salatin does it, so it's good enough for him. It's good enough for me. Now, what I'm going to try and do is let the rest of the farm rest, recover, and see what we can grow up. Because what I'm seeing around the pastures, if we let it sit 60, 80, maybe 90 days, what that'll do, it might give us an extra 30 days around the farm. If we do 90 days, that will kind of put us in springtime. Probably don't want to do that. Probably we'll make a decision right around day 60, 65, and that'll put us January 15th to February 1st, somewhere in there. Because if we can actually grow up enough, just enough to make it one pass around the farm, 1 acre a day for 30 days, that would save us big time in hay. Then we can move them back in here, and we don't have to put in any more money with the hay that we have to be able to keep them in here longer. That way in the springtime, when the spring flush comes, we're not out of hay and we're not grazing the spring flush right off the bat. We're able to let it grow up, maybe 8-10 inches or something like that, depending on how the spring is, and then turn them out there, and then we have a ton of grass in front of us. We have just a ton of grass in front of us, and that, I think, will help. Say we go into a drought next year, I think that'll help a lot. And that's just my plan. I think it'll work. I'm not 100% sure it'll work, but we're gonna try it and see what happens. Now, as for this thing here, this is an IBC tote that my friends picked up for me, which is really awesome. I think it's 200, looks like, yeah, 250 gallons. Well, probably maybe 275 with that extra space there. 1,000 liters. It's 1,000 liters. So for you in Canada and around the rest of the world, you guys do that conversion for me. Okay. So what we're gonna do here is, this is how we normally, give them their water. We hook up to our water line right there on the ground. And yes, it's on the ground. And then we just pump it into their water troughs. What I want to do is gonna hold up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this winter and do a little experiment that I think will work. And that is, we're gonna hold a bunch of water in here. We're gonna fill it all the way up, maybe every day, every other day, and then put that water trough underneath that, open the valve, and let the water come through. See, what this does, it gives us a safety net, because it was only 1 week last year that we couldn't move water around, and that's a once in a 120 year freak deal with that crazy winter storm, Uri, snowpocalypse, whatever you want to call it. This here should be able to help us with that. We fill it up. This water retains heat. It had the reason why it's a little bit discolored, it had some iodine in it, and I washed it out completely, put some soap in there, washed it as best I could. Worst comes to worst, there's a tiny little bit of residual iodine in there. Iodine is what they use to sterilize, so not really worried about it. It's perfectly fine. Now, what do you think, Ellie? Now, this will retain heat, especially this is facing east, so this will get the morning sun, and it'll start to heat up faster than the other side, or north. Then it's against the window, or then it's against the shop here, which has metal on it, which also retains heat, so this should stay warmer. Now, like, we froze this morning, and I couldn't come out here and turn on the water right away because it was frozen. We have a water line, it's on the ground, we didn't bury it, because I figure with this, we don't have to go through the need to bury this just yet. So what this will do is it should give us maybe 2 or 3 days worth of water to where, hey, you know what, it warms up enough to where water can move. I can come out here and fill it up if it gets really bad for a week or something like that. And I don't think it will, but this just gives us a safety net. And then secondly, the water is going to come a lot faster out of the spigot over there next to Ellie, right there. I don't know if you guys can see it. Then it is going to be out of these hose, and then I can fill up water a lot faster, and I'm only filling up water one or 2 days a week. It'll probably end up being 2 days a week, but it just takes a lot less, and then I can even fill up these water troughs here while I'm out here, and we just leave them out. Just frees us up for a lot more time, especially in the winter time, to where we can get projects done. We have so much that we're launching. We're right on the cusp of doing a lot of stuff. We're going to be announcing here in the next, say, month or so. Some of it's going to benefit you guys big time. So it just gives us a little bit more time in the winter time to get the farm even better. We're going to go through, clean up the pastures. We're going to go through, building some stuff, building some chicken tractors, getting just everything set up for next year. Now, as for our hay situation, we're looking pretty good. We're looking really good. So we got some hay delivered, it was yesterday, and we got 40 bales plus we had 15, used 2, so down to 13 there, so we have 53 bales left. By my calculations, this should be enough to get us through winter. Just fine. Maybe give us even a little bit extra to hold over for next year, so cool. I know some of you ask, okay, are you gonna make your own hay going forward, or are you gonna buy it? Last year we made our own hay. Why? Because it was our first year here. We had, at the time, like either 3 or 5 head. We had the first 5 that we had here. And they couldn't keep up with 30 acres of grass in the springtime, no way. So it was just sitting there, and it's not like, oh, we could have moved them through fast enough. It just wasn't gonna happen. So we made, it was about 18 acres into hay, and that produced all those hay bales for us that we're still feeding on. And going forward, are we gonna do that? No. We're not gonna make our own hay for a couple reasons. One, the price of hay. We paid $30 last year a bale to have it baled up, maybe $2 more than we should have, whatever. But this hay here only cost us $3 more, so we got this for $33 a bale delivered. And you're always gonna find a deal, and you're just, why am I gonna go and take our grass when we can use that grass to put into our cows, when for $3 extra a bale, just makes sense, financially. And I know the purists out there are going to say you should just bale your own hay, that way you're keeping all the nutrients here, you're not having to import anything. And you probably are right, but my thinking is that if people are going to make hay off their farm, they're going to make hay off their farm, we're importing. Look at this, look at the amount of nutrients that we're importing to the farm. That's just pure organic matter that's going to get processed through cows. It's going to be composted down in wood chips that we can spread out and make our farm better. We're gonna do it because just makes sense to. It's not like we're buying junk hay either. It's pretty good hay. You can see a lot of Bermuda, and it looks like Bahia in here. Maybe some other stuff, maybe a couple weeds. Not a big deal because it's just gonna get composted down. And you see, if you were gonna make hay off your own land, all you're doing is taking nutrients away. Even if you unroll it back out, even if you compost it down, you're still gonna put yourself back 5 years. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense. For $3 extra a bale delivered, and then all these nutrients added back to our farm, I'm good with that. What's up, little guy? You're almost wind, huh? This wind is crazy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey. See? Look, you're jumping down, huh, buddy? Good boy. Good Skywalker. We're gonna have to make a decision on you really soon. And here's one more thing that we're doing, because I got a really incredible email from one of our subscribers a little bit ago, and he went through kind of the same thing that I had to go through of making decision to, are we going to use conventional warmers when we have to, because with chocolate chip, he was on his way down. He's picking way back up now. He looks back to normal actually now. Dolly is almost all the way there now, especially that we weaned Skywalker off of her. So we had to make a decision whether we should use chemical warmers, the conventional warmers, ivermectin, or not. And with our cows mostly being heifers, coming into their 3rd trimester of their pregnancy, not good timing, but that's just when our bull decided to do his thing. We wanted to give them, we don't want to have them dealing with worms, because with this drought that we had this summer, they grazed down a little bit too far. And I think, some of them looked a little bit wormy. So we did it, and we got really nice email from this guy that was in the same position as we were. And he gave us a really good recommendation. This is something that I've seen before. It's something that I've heard other people recommend to me. It's just something that it wasn't pressing at the time, and you know, I'm busy and I just didn't have time to do any research on it. But I know it's been recommended to me before, but this guy made the case for me, and I said I'm all in. I'm gonna try it. That is this. This here is Redmond salt. You know, you probably heard a lot about this, but it's Redmond salt with garlic on it. We're gonna take the tag off. We just picked it up. We got lucky because there's a farm store near us that actually carries it, and it was only like a 15-minute drive to go get it. So it's got, you know, we're gonna leave the other salt blocks that we have in here, the regular salt block, the mineral block, and we'll probably go get, actually can go get it right now, the sulfur block that belongs there. They just finished it. But this here will help with with parasites, at least keep the pressure down. And if it's done over a long period of time, this will be, this can be hard. This will be, especially with one hand, very beneficial for them, and it'll help, you know, kind of flush any kind of parasites out, because, you know, parasites, they're like vampires. They don't like garlic. Getting super windy, so I'm gonna come back over here, so hopefully it dies down. But the parasites don't like garlic, and it should help at least control the flies during the summer. So we're just gonna give them a salt block for the next year. We're gonna try this. This is gonna be a year experiment and see how it does. And I think everything that I've read, everything that people have told me, should work out really well. But I do know one of the issues that happens with Redmond salt. See, if your water has you know, a little bit more iron than it's supposed to, or whatever, it just has more iron in it, with the garlic and with the garlic salt and the iron, the cows are more prone to pink eye. Here's why I love Longhorns, because I want to get the stat right, but it's like 99.8% of Longhorns are completely pink eye resistant. So again, love Longhorns, love Longhorns. I think I'm gonna make that a thing, but that's why, again, love the Longhorns. And in a week when this little guy is completely weaned and the mama's dried off, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this up, and I'm gonna clean out over here in this little section of the barn here. And this will probably be where the minerals are. Might even throw down some wood chips here. Just got to clean all this junk out that was left here. But this will be where the minerals are. That way it has a covering, so it doesn't get all, you know, kind of wet and sloshy when it rains. This is what our winter system's going to be like for the year. Hopefully it works out. I think it'll work out. We're going to see what benefits more when we go and eventually spread this compost that we're going to create back on out to the fields, or if it was better to unroll hay. So I don't know which way is better. It's probably different. Ooh, here we go. Gotta go back over here. Okay. I don't know which way is better. We're gonna kind of find out, and I think it's each particular climate, each particular farm. Like, okay, here, I'll give you an example. We don't have much bare ground here. We don't have much bare ground at all in our pastures, which is a great thing. We have a couple little spots up on the hilltops that could use that. But if we had a lot of bare ground, I'd 100% go and unroll the hay, probably again this year, right on those spots, and do it, you know, maybe twice on that spot. That way we're adding a lot more organic matter to the soil and just covering it up. But here we don't have much bare ground, if any. Now on the spots that we do on those hilltops over there, if I can get to it with the side-by-side and with the hay dolly that I'm gonna be using safely, because it's, you know, kind of, I'll unroll hay on there when I move them out to pasture, and that'll just help. But for the most part, they're gonna be in here, and we're gonna try it this year and see what happens. So you want to see how this turns out? Hit that subscribe button down below. Ring the notification bell so you get notified when we put up new videos. Hit the like button, because it really does help boost us up in the YouTube algorithm, and drop a comment if you like. Alright? Till next time. See ya. Bye.